Major figures in the Civil War.
This is Abraham Lincoln. He was born in Hartsville, Kentucky on February 12, 1809. After many failed elections, he finally got the title of the 16th President of the United States. Abraham was from the Republican Party, and he was against slavery. A year after he was elected, the Civil War began. Abraham was the commander-in-chief of the Union Army. He was the one who made key decisions and assigned leaders. Prior to the war, Abraham was against secession, and he tried to keep his promise to take no actions to limit slavery in any of the states that allowed it. A major difficulty Abraham came across when trying to join the war effort was the promise he had made during his campaign about not attacking Montgomery for their actions. 5 days after the South surrendered, Abraham was shot and killed on April 14, 1865. The legacies that live on from Abraham Lincoln is that he ended slavery, spoke the Gettysburg Address, signed the Homestead Act, and created the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment.
This is Jefferson Davis, born June 3, 1808. He was the first and only president of the Confederate States of America. Although he was elected to be president in 1861, he did not want the place. He was hoping for a military command. Jefferson focused on military strategy and worked very hard on his duties as president. Jefferson did not do much in domestic politics, which caused Abraham to be more successful. Prior to the war, Jefferson was opposed to secession, but he later resigned from the U.S. Senate when Mississippi seceded. Jefferson faced many difficulties with congressional opposition, inspiring the Southern public and judging people he had favored and disliked. He protected incompetence and had no use for the talented that he disliked. After the war, Jefferson was imprisoned for 2 years because of treason. Once he got out of prison, his health was not well. When he returned to America, he had difficulties making a living and lived off the charity of friends and relatives. One of Jefferson's long-lasting legacies was how he was devoted to achieving Southern independence.
This is Hiram Ulysses Grant, born April 7, 1822 in Point Pleasant, Ohio. He was the 18th President of the United States. Ulysses' passive victories in war led him to be Lieutenant General of the Union Army, which was once the position of Abraham Lincoln. His new position meant that he would command all of the Union armies. He was one of the highest-ranking officers in the United States. Grant was not involved in any political debates leading to the secession. Grant was given the anti-slavery view as a boy from his father. As a man, he was a part of the Republican Party. After the war, Ulysses was known as a national hero, and then, with the finest of the Republicans, he was later nominated president. For 2 years that followed, for his second term in office, Grant made a triumphal tour of the world. Grant wrote about his war experiences for Century magazine. They proved so popular that he was inspired to write his excellent autobiography, Personal Memoirs of U.S. Grant, finishing the 2-volume set only a few days before he died of cancer at the age of 63. Grant remains a somewhat of an enigma in American history. He was such a successful general that his failings as president seem hard to comprehend. He was a natural leader on the battlefield, but was not an especially effective leader of his country. Still, in the areas of Native American policy, civil service reform, and African American rights, he took steps that few had attempted. He also executed a successful foreign policy and was responsible for improving Anglo-American relations.
This is Robert E. Lee, the main general for the Confederacy. He was born in 1807. He was one of the most talented and successful generals who played a part in the Civil War. He declined Lincoln's offer to command the Union Army and declared allegiance to his home state instead. Robert's first military act occurred in Cheat Mountains, Virginia, and was a victory. Under his reasons, the Army of Northern Virginia became the most famous and successful of the Confederate armies, and they achieved the greatest victory in the Battle of Chancellorsville. Prior to the war, Robert was not against secession or slavery, but later decided he should fight alongside Virginia, his homeland. Robert faced difficulties with criticism throughout the public land. After the war, Robert became president of Washington College. He died of heart disease in 1870. Robert's lasting legacy was how he stood with courage and never turned away, yet still lost in the end.
Major figures of the Civil War.